What up? What up? What up? It's your boy, the coach. I do apologize for my voice. I did lose it yesterday, screaming at my is a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah. So we're going to get this done. No excuses. But welcome to the Emerald Circle Live. Same day, same time. I am not here to motivate. I'm here to install structure, right? So today isn't about who you want to be, it's who you're operating as right now. All right. So just to clarify, this is not content. I am not coaching. This is not acting, right? Um, and this is not a place for chitter chatter, not for, gossiping and things of that nature. This is for those ones that um, felt the signal and you're here now. So this is a signal room. So let's get started, all right? So today's signal lesson is on um, your systems, all right? So we all have systems, right? And we all have, well, we all should have systems. However, we all have goals, right? So systems is greater than goals. Why? Because goals can only get you so far, right? And before burnout happens or things of that nature happens. But if you have certain systems in place, that will alleviate the pressure, the feeling of I got to do this again today. That's something that I've been working on because I did have a lot of goals without systems in place, and that's my biggest goal for 2026 is to implement more systems to free up my time and my thinking. All right. So the key is to build infrastructure for your business, your brand, whatever it is. Salute, mom and son. I appreciate you. I'm here. Um, Build infrastructure. If you don't know what infrastructure is, Google it, use AI. I am not here to coach you. I'm here to give you some information and you do with it what you need. All right. So build infrastructure. Don't build wishes. Don't wish that I want to make $10,000 every 2 months, right? That's wishful thinking, right? But how are you going to get to that goal? What are you going to put in place that's not feeling that you have to, slave to that particular goal, right? So sit back and think about your infrastructure or the lack of infrastructure and the pressure that we put on ourselves because our goals, I'm not going to say they're too high. They're right where there should be, but that the foundation, that infrastructure is not for most of us. I can't speak for everyone, right? I'm just giving you my viewpoint, my example, what I've noticed within my business, my brand that will help me moving into now 2027 because 2026 is for me implementing these things, right? So we want to focus on building infrastructure and not wishes, right? So we have to identify and understand that we are the architect of our life. So if there's something that we want to accomplish, we have to sit down and architect that. That's like, you know, if you're not familiar with we're working on cars or things of that such, look, go to YouTube. Technology is a beast these days. You feel me? Go in there and look how a mechanic um, changes a tire, replaces brakes. Look at going YouTube, the place where you go to get your oil changed. Look and see what systems that they have in place that makes their job easier. It's just not an individual out there, you know, um, maybe you still do this every now and then. I might have to call somebody over and they go in the backyard and change your oil. Nowadays, we go into, a uh, oil place, somewhere, oil changing place, and they put us on a rack or they under. We drive in, they underneath. They got systems in place and people in place to get us in and out within 30 minutes. And they have multiple people coming in right behind us. The lines is crazy. See, that's a system in place, right? So we have to architect our life, and that's key. So the problem, right? This is the problem with most people, including myself. It was the problem. My willpower is a trap, right? To have the willpower to do something, that's one thing, ladies and gentlemen, and that's great. And that's where the spark is ignited, right? But your willpower equals unstable fuel. Your willpower is only as good as your mindset as that day, right? Whatever's going on that day, that could affect how you feel with building your brand or business, right? So your mood and environment controls behavior. You might wake up in a bad mood. You might wake up and your water or your heat is off. That can affect you, and because and rightfully so. It does affect you or me, and that affects the way we feel. And do you think with that situation or that example, if that happens, would you be in a great mood to continue your business for that day? Would you feel like sustaining what you have to sustain to put in the time to do whatever it is for your business, right? So we want to try to eliminate that when our mood and environment can affect our behavior, right? It really can. So when our willpower is down, our we have decision fatigue, which ties into inconsistency because the fatigue, which ties into burnout. I mean, we all go through it one time or another when the right system isn't in place, right? The right infrastructure. And before my eyes became open or I was more susceptible to acquire more knowledge about what was going on, I kept skipping this part, right? I kept skipping set up systems because all I heard was set up systems, set up systems. I didn't know, right, what that individual is talking about. Like, what systems? How can we do this? And that's what a lot of people don't share. And hopefully, by I'm not going to give you everything now, right? Because I don't want to take up too much time. But by the end of this live today, I will help you understand what a system for your business may look like, right? Because I created one system for HGF, and this live is like a byproduct of that system, right? I can either do it live with a bad voice or pre-record my live and launch it as a premiere, which I didn't do today, right? But I'm here. Um, and that is a system I can put in place just in case I'm not available, right? To be here on a Sunday. If I know 2 days before that I might not make it or I'm going somewhere, I can record a pre-recorded lesson and schedule it for a premiere at 7:30. And wherever I'm at, ladies and gentlemen, I can be in the comments, right? So we have to figure out what it is that we do on a daily basis, what stresses us out, what what we do that ties into how we're feeling that day. And if we could eliminate a part of our structure or infrastructure that depends on our mood, us physically doing it, that's half of the battle. And AI can help you. Um, yeah, it can, right? So another thing is the core principle of what we're going over today, right? So we have to make the desired action the easiest action, right? So we have to figure out what we do in steps to get a desired action. Again, I'm going to give you an example of what I'm doing and using so you could start getting your mind turning, right? So I wanted to set up something that where I post every day to send out a signal. And then, well, Monday through Friday. Then on Sunday, have the Emerald Circle live and build off those daily 5 posts I did through the week, right? So I could easily go in and write a post every day, right? And post that every day. And then depending on my mood, my environment control, um, hopefully I did it. Or what I decided to do was create, with the help of AI, um, a agent, an assistant that I programmed what I wanted to come out, where to search, what type of viewpoints, and I fed it some more information about my brand and this system that I created. Now I could go in and create a week's worth of content based on that week's lesson, right? Program it in one of my social media platforms a week in advance. So when tomorrow, for example, it's going to post at 9:30, so I don't have to post it. So no matter if my electricity, I wake up late or whatever the case may be, my system has already been updated to take care of my 5 posts for the week, right? So I don't have to control that anymore, right? I just have to input what I wanted to do one time a week and follow the protocol. So that's one way of setting up systems for what we do daily. And the overall goal is to get people here on Sunday or to get people to watch the replay of my Sunday training, right? So that's one example. So if starting, just remember this, if starting feels hard, your system is broken. If every day you set up and you like, I gotta set this up again. If it's feeling like it's a drain or you don't want to do it, something within that system is broke. Because when I set up my post for this week yesterday, I got done in 10 minutes. I didn't feel like this was a problem because I knew that that 10 minutes will give me at least 2 to 5 hours of free time throughout the week, right? So that's why it's important to really view your business, your brand, whether it's in real life, whether it's in Upland Metaverse, see what you're doing and try to eliminate half of that process, right? Somehow, some way, try to come up, ask someone, join, whatever you got to join the communities you have to join, but you need to analyze your workflow for whatever it is you're doing and see what's taking up your energy, what feels like I don't want to do this again, all right? And once you can visualize, not visualize, but once you can actually dissect and see What do you manually have to do? But then you have to look at and see what can you place on autopilot, like I did. Because when you place things on autopilot, set it up once and have it do it for you, that's elite design. That's an elite design. Autopilot equals elite design because you set it up once and it does the work for you multiple times. That's freeing up your time. How I set mine up on autopilot, I scheduled my post in advance in the social media that I was using, and it was free, right? So there are platforms out there that gives you scheduling capabilities on multiple social media platforms, but they do cost, right? Depending on where you're at in your business, if you have a budget for your business, look into that. Or if that's something that you want to invest in for your business to scale it up, maybe that's something you should look into. But I'm not here to tell you if you need to go the free method or the pay method. That's something you have to internally decide on your budget and where you're at in your business now, right? We're here to give you information so you can do your own internal um, analysis, right? So let's go to where we have to be in order to come from where we're coming from, right? So we need a mindset shift, right? We need to attempting to think like an engineer, right? We have to think like an engineer. And so I'm going to try to break it down for those that still here, made it to this point. We're almost done. Remember, I never try to go too long. I try to get in, give you some good information so you can get back out there and do what you do on Sundays. So you got to remember that every action, you have to look at it as a input, right? For every action you do in your business, it's an input. So every success is a lagging indicator. Look that up. Every success equals a lagging indicator, right? So this is what we have to focus on to tighten up our ship. Thank you. Um, Focus on your gears. What are your gears? Your gears are the processes. What processes do you go within your business to get to the end result, right? And your lube is the friction removal. So if you get tired, right, of getting up and posting every day, you have to find your lube so you can remove that friction, right? My lube was to schedule my post on the weekend for Monday and Friday. I could have scheduled my information for a whole month if I want to. I have the system to do it, but I'm actually trying to find my vibe, right? I'm trying to see if I want to do it a week in advance, see how that feel. I might try next week to do it 2 weeks in advance, you know, and see how that feels. But to me, it feels like 2 weeks in advance, and I have to test it out. Um, I might forget. I might forget my routine. I might just need that every week shift just to keep my mind, sharp, ready for these lives. So once we put this lube, no pun intended, this lube, the friction removal in place, we gotta see if that's the right amount of lube we need. All right. And the third point we want to focus on is the logic. Yes, the logic. Does it make sense of how you or me is putting up, or that we created our workflow design? Does it flow with your life? I create and schedule my posts on a weekend rather, when I'm normally don't work. I definitely have 15 minutes to do it, you know. Um, and then I'm free for the rest of the day unless I have other processes and other systems I have to tweak. But my tweaking and programming days is on the weekend. I'm going to figure out if Saturday is best since I do lives on Sunday, or should I just say, you know what, Sunday is I'm going to program everything. Then a few hours later, I'm going to jump in and do the live. I have to, create that system for my particular life, my business. So it's not a one fix. It is something that we have to tinker with to fine tune, right? We don't know. You don't know. So once we do one thing, it might not work the way we expect it. So we got to fine tune it and create our workflow, our systems around our daily activities, our family, right? So let's go ahead and work with a little bit more, a couple more points before I let you out of here, right? So what we have to do is identify, right? 3 weekly drains. Sit back. You can or bring out a piece of paper or whatever, but sit back and think about what what part, what 3 things in your system truly drains you, right? Even though you know you have to do it, and I apologize with my voice. Um, Again, I had a game yesterday, and me screaming, cheering on my team, 7 and 8 year olds. I lost my voice. I wasn't going to do it, but I said, let's get it anyway. This 2026 for my LB family that understands nothing is going to stop us. Good question. If that's a statement or a question, I will. uh, I don't know what you're talking about, but if you have a good question, go ahead and post it, or you was just saying in general, the question that I posed was good. Thank you. Um, but let's go ahead and get into the workflow. So first thing is identify 3 weekly drains. What drains you? What 3 things drains you doing your systems that you're doing for your workflow, for your system? What's up, Wolf? I see you. What three? I don't care. Again, I don't care if you're in Upland. I don't care if you're in your a brand in real life. If you're trying to bring it in up, it doesn't matter. All systems are systems. What 3 things do you do weekly that truly drains you? I could tell you one thing that I do that truly drains me in Upland is moving my assets from one property to another. So a way that I eliminated, or a tool that was created that helped me eliminate that, was from a in-game player named Laban. He created a system that was a asset remover that s- sped up the time, made it simplified for us. So we have to look for different solutions to things that we truly don't like, right? Okay, I get it, I appreciate you. So we have to, with those 3, after you identify or write those 3 weekly drains, write them down. Sometimes we got to write stuff down to really keep them on the forefront of our mindset, right? So once you write those 3 weekly drains, try to either eliminate them, delegate them, or automate them. And again, I'm going to give you the process of what I did for my HGF hub or my Emerald Circle, right? My way of eliminating or delegating and automating my weekly drains was I had to post daily while I was at work, while I was coaching. I had to remember to post one time at least a week from Monday through Friday, and still do my daily activities no matter what happened. If I woke up late or whatever the case may be, I got busy. If I forgot, I don't care what it was. That was draining for me. So I've started creating the content on the weekend, and I delegated the posting, right? And I used a system to automate that. So I delegated the posting to the social media platform that I was going to post on, and I scheduled it out all the way out to Friday. So I identified one of my weekly drains. I came up with a solution to schedule my post for 10 minutes on the weekends so I won't have to deal with it Monday through Friday when life happens. So I automated it, right? So identify the 3 weekly drains, try to eliminate them, try to delegate them, try to automate them, or do all three. So by doing this, what we do is we have to patch energy leaks. My energy was leaking because I had to do that and it was just stressing me out so much to keep up the consistency, right? So we have to identify in our system where our energy is leaking out, what is draining us, right? And we have to patch those leaks rather, okay? So with that, by doing that, what we do is we reclaim our energy, right? We're gaining more energy. It doesn't feel so draining through the week once we start implementing these strategies. So we reclaim our bandwidth. So that's the key. I can honestly say by that one strategy that I use, I reclaim my energy from posting and worrying about me missing a day and giving people content. So that's just my example. Hopefully, you could use my example. Think about what you have in place, right? And you could do the same if you have questions or concerns. You know, definitely ask them in the comments. Definitely subscribe, like this video if you found anything that I said that gave you value so far. I'll appreciate it. It helped with the algorithm. Um, so let's go ahead in closing, right? What do we have to do? So I would like, if I will talk slow too, I'm gonna give you 4 points that should recap this video and help you moving forward. So point one, you got to remember, no, this is not a point, I'm sorry, but head this, we are the architect of reality. We are the creators of our realities. We are the creators of our systems. We are the creators of our outcome. We just have to understand and work on creating that reality, right? So, point number one you need to do is to refine your blueprint. We all have a blueprint. I don't care what you're doing, we all have a blueprint. If we don't have a blueprint, that's half of the problem, right? Let me take a drink of water. 1 second. Yeah, excuse me. So we all have a blueprint. So we have to look at our blueprint and see what's our energy drainers, and we have to start refining the blueprint. Point number two, we have to tighten up the bolts. Some of our bolts are loose. Yeah, some of our bolts are loose. You know, some of my bolts were loose as well. So and Wolf, he made a good time. I mean, I'm sorry, he made a good point. Finding time, prioritizing goals, juggling family and professional life. Yes, it's hard to do. I never said it was easy to do. Trust me, it's hard to do. But what I can say is once you find the time to start patching those leaks, you find more time. You have more time with juggling family and professional life. It's that in between time, it's that structuring that takes our energy. I'm not saying it will be easy. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for no one. But as we work on it daily and weekly, and that's why I'm having these lives to give out, these tips because you might not resonate with everything I said. It might be one or two shows that might give you that one nugget that can take your business to the next level. And that's what I'm hoping, right? So, point number three, build systems that run while you sleep. Build systems that run while you sleep. Think about that. What can you put in place with one of the things that you're doing now that can help you allow it to run in your sleep? For those, you're welcome, L. Appreciate you. LB all day. Um, I'm talking to my Upland people, right? One of the systems that we have in Upland is we have our meta ventures, we have our showrooms that all we have to do is stock the rooms, place the price, and it feel good waking up and seeing that we made a USD sale, right? But are we advertising our our items in Upland, our NFTs, our map assets, our structure ornaments, our cars, our cars? Are we advertising, or are we just um, assuming that someone will find it, right? So that's part of a system that we have in place, which it can truly, you know, help us run while we're asleep. But the missing part to that is creating content, scheduling it on social media, and having it run while we're sleeping. So that content pushes people that's following us on our social media pages to the assets that we're providing and giving it more value and just doing the work for us. So I'm not saying you don't have that in place, right? But if you don't, that's something that's leaking, right? Because we're all here to make a profit. We all here to help people, but we're all here to make at least if it's $10 to get some sparklet, a month, or it's $10 to pay for our trip to Virginia with my LB family coming up in the end of February. You feel me? So we all need to make a profit for something. But just again, I don't know what it is that you may need help with, what you're going through, and what your professional and family life looks like. I'm just sharing nuggets. All right. And the fourth point is build it better. We all have a system in place right now that's draining us. If you don't have a system in place right now that's not draining you, congratulations. I'm happy for you. But some of my systems is draining me. I'm gonna be 100, right? And I found a way to alleviate one of my systems, and I'm still working on the other systems in place. But I am a one-man team, so I definitely need help putting systems together so I won't get burnt out. If you're a one-man team, or even if you have a team, we need something to alleviate us being burnt out. And 9 times out of 10, it's because we don't have systems in place. So look at your system and attempt to build it better. All right. So with that being said, um, what we do with the information that we are giving is up to us, right? So I hope if you gain one nugget from this live, that you will at least like this this video for me, right? Just that's all I'm asking. Like, I'm not even asking you to share, right? And if you would like, I have some add-on activities that will build onto this. I did actually, it's funny because I did schedule and automate this yesterday to happen. I scheduled the add-on to this particular live to post in my free tier of my HGF Creators Hub. So if you're a member of that hub, the add-ons is already there, right? If you want to go home, you could print them out, you could use them, and it will help guide you of looking at the systems that you have in place. If you're not a member of my HGF um, Creators Hub, you can look in the description of this video. You will see the link to my hub. So, and just remember it again, I'm only allowing the free tier. So you're not paying for anything to be a free member, but you do get added perks built on and access to other individuals like us. All right. So with that being said, I do appreciate you. If I mean, some will apply alone, right? Some people might not even tell me that they tried it, for whatever reason. But some people want mirrors and structures. You know, that's that's the circle. There's no pressure with the HDF Creators Hub. If you feel the pull, the door is always there. In closing, remember, identity doesn't need applause. It needs repetition. It's the coach. I'll see you next week. Peace.